Hello, online crew. Today we're talking about Reels, more specifically Instagram Reels. But hopefully, if you're doing Reels on Instagram as well as Facebook. And an easy way to do that is just a multi-purpose. So if you're doing Reels, let me know. Let me know in the comments if you're doing Reels and if you're multi-purposing those Reels from Instagram to Facebook to TikTok. So wherever you're doing Reels or, the micro video content, I would highly recommend that you multi-purpose it on the platforms. You just got to know how to do that. And I've got training in that in my coaching community, because you do one piece of content and you share it out on like Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. But what I want to share with you today is the head of Instagram actually came out 3 days ago and gave some advice and some tips around recommendations on how to maximize your Reels. So I really wanted to share this with you because some of you may be doing the same things over and over and again on Reels, and there are certain Reels that will be favored in the algorithm versus other Reels. And so I wanted to share these tips with you that have come straight from Instagram as to their advice as to how you can maximize your Reels. So this is interesting sort of information. So welcome to the live today. If we haven't met before, my name's Helen Martin. I'm your online crew captain. This is just a bit of fun for our online crew community here, full of entrepreneurs, home-based business owners, direct sellers, social sellers, all of the above. If you would like to leverage the internet and use modern social media strategies to build your business online, then you're in the right place. But something I'm really passionate about is doing that by being a human before a marketer. So if you have a high level of integrity of how you build your business online, then again, you're in the right place, because everything that I share is around being a human before a marketer, okay? So if you are joining me live, please say hello. I'd love to give you a shout out. Where are you watching from? Let me know that as well. And just before I get into these tips, I just want to share with you tomorrow, at the time of this live, I'm actually going to share the top 15 of our recent Online Crew 14-day video challenge, but it'll be 2 hours earlier than when I'm live at my normal time, which is now. So tomorrow, if you can join me 2 hours earlier than now, and join us, and let's celebrate our video challenges. Like, they've gone live for 14 days straight and shared lots of information on their live videos, and I'd love as many people to be on live as possible to celebrate those people. Okay, so that's what's happening tomorrow. So if you're here with me live, say hello. We've got Cherie, we've got Joanne. Hello, Sandy, good to see you. I haven't seen your name pop up for a while. Lovely to see you here. Hello, Dan. Great to see you here from Alberta, Canada. That was a terrible accent. Hello, Donna. How are you? Good to see you here watching from Florida. We've got Beth here as well from Canada. So great to see you guys jump on. So let's get into the content. So these are, again, just to reiterate, this is straight from the horse's mouth from Instagram, the head of Instagram, on what they recommend you should be doing to maximize your Reels, maximize sort of the content in your Reels, the reach, the outcomes, all the rest of it, okay? So you can check in with these things to see whether you're doing them or not, or maybe how you can improve on them, okay? So number one, nail the hook within the first few seconds. That's a pretty standard thing, but are you doing it or not? So nailing the hook within the first few seconds. And the recommendation was, if you're showcasing, excuse me, if you're showcasing a product or a service, do that in action. So let's say you've got a product that, you want to showcase, is kind of use the product or do something with the product, or like have action and a hook in the very first few seconds of your Reels. They're the kind of Reels that are doing better, because you are up against everybody else doing micro video content, and some of them are like only seconds long. So if you can have a really good hook and actually show movement and action with what you're sharing within the first few seconds, then potentially your Reel could do better. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, get creative with transitions. How many of you are using transitions in your Reels? Like getting really creative with transitions, trying different transitions. I must say I haven't really done many transitions lately, but the recommendation is get creative with transitions. If I'm looking down, I just wrote down all these notes about what they suggested, so I'm just making sure I get the wording that they've said right. Okay, so look to experiment with transitions to entertain your viewers and show off your brand, and get really creative. So the more creative your reels, the more likely they are to stand out from the crowd and get noticed. So if you haven't really ventured into transitions much, it might be something that you might like to explore. The changes that have come into reels, particularly Instagram reels, like you create them differently now than when we created them a few months ago. And it's actually quite easy to do transitions. You've just got to get creative and have a little practice. But there's a heads up for you. And that the creator of Instagram is saying, get creative with transitions, use transitions. So rather than just sitting there and talking or just pointing, like, can you bring transitions into your reels in any way? So who thinks they could do a better job at bringing in some sort of transitions into their reels? Let me know. And on that, it was highlighted to come up with more original content. So I think reels are amazing for, it's the one piece of content where you can legitimately copy other people and you can look at what's trending and copy what they're doing and put your own wording to it. But the recommendation is to come up with more original content. So have a think about that. Number 3, match the rhythm. Now, what the recommendation around that is around music and syncing what you're doing to a music track. Now, I don't know if you know this, but if you, and this can be simply achieved, if you go and pull a whole lot of photos from your camera roll and you go and choose, this was in a training in my coaching community a few weeks ago, and you go and choose an audio track to go with those photos from your camera roll. So simple. You go to create reel, you pick up 4 or 5 photos from your camera roll, you go and pick up an audio track. The audio track automatically syncs the beat to the music to your photos. So this is what this is what they're talking about here, is syncing your video or your photos, that kind of thing, to music, because over 80% of reels apparently are viewed with the sound on. I wouldn't rely on that. Like, you want to use captions, that comes up here as well. But apparently over 80% of reels are actually viewed with the sound on. So syncing and matching the rhythm of the music to what you're actually doing is something that they're recommending that we should do with our reels. So have a little play with that one. 4, keeping on trend. So being aware of the latest trends. How do you do that? How do you know what's trending? One of the ways is by looking at the trending audio. Now, most of you, and I do know some people haven't got this for some reason, but you can tell the trending audio by the little arrow down in the bottom left-hand corner next to the name of the music track. If the arrow is pointing up, that is a trending audio track. So when you're looking through reels to replicate for yourself with your own message, make sure you're looking at what is trending and replicate those for yourself. I often do that. I look at what's trending. If it's a trending audio track, then I'll pick it up and use it myself. So being really aware, like keeping on trend. What's trending? What are people, digging at the moment? What audios are people loving at the moment? So being aware of that. But create and encourage your audience. Oh, so keeping on trend as well. This is under the same heading. Creating and encouraging your audience to remix your reels. Have you ever done that? So remixing a reel is really simple to do. I shared on, where did I share it? In the last day or so, we were talking about reels. I think I might have shared it on Clubhouse. If you didn't listen to our Clubhouse from yesterday, go and listen to the replay. We talked all about content, different types of content, the importance of content, content planning, all of that kind of stuff. I gave heaps of tips around content. So go and look for the replay of our Clubhouse discussion yesterday if you've missed that. But one of the things I was sharing is I batch record my reels because I just don't have time every day to just stop and create a reel and post it. So I batch record them. I'll have, up to about 10 stored in my drafts. And so I've got 10 days worth of reels already, recorded. If I run out and I haven't had time to batch another lot, something that's really easy and simple for you to do is remix somebody else's reel. So you can really simply do that by looking at somebody else's reel that is it could be just an inspirational one. And you click on the 3 dots when you're watching it, the options will come up and it says remix this reel. And their reel will move to the side, your face will be on the side, and you listen to them talk. I did one a couple of nights ago. Just have a look at my Instagram and look at my reels and you'll see one there. And you just kind of point to what they're saying and you agree with them. Like, they're so simple to do. But have you ever asked somebody or put in the captions of your reel to remix your reel? So think of mainly like an inspirational or a motivational type reel if you're doing one. Maybe in the comments you could say remix this reel and let's get the message out. Okay, it's really simple and easy for you to do, and that's trending. Okay, remixing reels is trending. Okay. And don't forget to add relevant hashtags to whatever it is that your content is about. Number 5, collaborations. So Instagram are really favoring collaborations on with reels. So any way that you can collaborate with somebody maybe more successful than you. Have you got have you got somebody that you could, bring on screen with you and turn into a reel or something like that? Like do a live interview if you've ever done that. Like collaborate with other people on reels. And I've seen some cool ones. So hopefully you'll know what I mean when you see a reel and it's 2 people that have they've collaborated, but it makes a really creative reel when they're talking to each other, but they've totally recorded it like separately, but they've brought it together as a collaboration. Like, they're just really interesting and they're trending, and Instagram are promoting that and encouraging people to think more about collaborations rather than just doing everything on your own. Who can you collaborate with and create content with? Okay. Number 6, I would always recommend this anyway, whether it's a reel or a post or a live or any kind of content, is being authentic, being authentically you. So reels, as I said earlier, they're awesome for copying content. It's the one piece of content you're allowed to copy 100%. You see somebody's reel and you go, that's a really good reel. I'm going to go and recreate that. Awesome. You're allowed to do that. It's quite acceptable. You'll see a lot of reels that look the same as other reels. Like, that's fine. But what can you do moving forward that is more original? What can you say? What can you talk about? What can you create? What transition can you create that is like really authentic and genuine to you and your brand and your voice? And even thinking about doing more talking reels with music behind them, giving out a piece of advice or a tip or something like that, like being authentic, true to you, your brand, real to you, rather than, just copying what everyone else is doing. So eventually that will probably not be favored because it's original content that draws people to you. It's not, when your voice is the same as everyone else's voice. Somewhere along the line on social media, you want to find your own voice. Okay. Now, another thing to think about is, I don't know if you guys worry about this, I certainly don't, is the Instagram grid. So the Instagram grid is when you go to Instagram and you look at somebody's profile is, what you see in all the boxes. And in the past, a lot of people have spent a lot of time and a lot of money and, even done trainings on how your grid looks. And sometimes it would look really, really awesome. And you've got like, it could be photo, 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 reel, 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 quote, quote, quote. Or somebody could mix that up, like it's photo reel, something or other, photo reel, and it's all about the grid. So Instagram itself is saying only you care about your grid. No one who interacts with your content is probably seeing it from your profile. It's turned up in their algorithm. Like I've told you many times, one of the amazing things about Reels is the untapped organic reach that you get from Reels. So you might only have a small amount of followers, but your Reel could go to thousands of people. Like you just don't get that with other pieces of content. So if you're not doing Reels, you're missing out, and you should learn how to do them. I've got a free Reels challenge. Just go to my website, helenmartinonline.com, look for the Reels area, and you can learn how to do all the things. So there's free training there for you to learn how to do Reels, but it's not one of the things you don't have to worry about anymore, which kind of put me off Instagram a little bit in previous time, is by having the perfect looking grid. There are still people now that pay a lot of attention to that, and they've started something, so they keep it going, but it is not important in any way, shape or form anymore to have an amazing looking creative grid. So, and where people are picking up your content is probably not from your grid. Like if somebody sees your reel, it's because it's been put in front of them for some reason. It's not that they're necessarily looking at your grid. Does that make sense? So don't worry about those things. You could turn up on Instagram with 100% reels and nothing else. You might want to, because of variety, you might want to put a photo up every now and again, or a live video, or an uploaded video, or a carousel post if you're doing them, different types of content. That it is possible to turn up on Instagram now and just do 100% reels. I've seen people with hundreds of thousands of followers and all they do is reels, nothing else, just reels. It's like, that's crazy compared to what Instagram used to be, not that long ago. And, I wrote it down here as well. Like the head of Instagram said, reels are a key focus for Instagram. If you're not doing them, you're missing out. And again, like I said at the beginning of the video, is that if you're doing them, just repurpose them on Facebook and TikTok. If you're doing it one, or if you start on TikTok, then repurpose it on Facebook and Instagram. Or if you start it on Facebook, then repurpose it on Instagram and TikTok. Like, why not? Just use one piece of content and get it out there. You've done the video once. You've written your caption once. Hopefully you've got all your hashtags ready to go. Put it in 3 places instead of 1. Okay, but take in mind all these tips that Instagram is sharing with you, its consumers, as to, what are some of the things that they recommend you take you take notice of. And the interesting thing at the end of the article that I read about all this Instagram stuff and the tips that they're recommending is that they said everybody uses Instagram a little bit differently. Some people still use Instagram for like the photo sharing app. A lot of people will just use it, for the reels. Some people will be really into stories, like in Instagram. Everyone uses Instagram a little bit differently. So don't be complacent in any one thing. Just sort of mix up your content, use the stories, use the reels, use the photos, go live, do collaborations, do transitions in your reels. Like, take notice of what the head of Instagram is actually advising to its consumers as to how to get better quality reels, how to get more reach out of your reels. So again, I just wanted to share that information with you because that's coming from the source in what they're prioritizing in sort of the algorithm, if you like. So it's stuff that you just want to store and think, okay, maybe I should get a little bit more creative with collaborations. Maybe I need to do a better job of having a hook and being more dynamic with how I show a product or something like that. Those tips that I've just given you, have a think about them and how you can incorporate them sort of into your business. Okay. So Joanne's asking, what is transitions? Transitions is when there's a different look within the one frame. So I am talking to you now. You're seeing me. This is how you could do a reel. You could just talk into the camera. So that's just one look, one visual. A transition is within a seconds of a reel is that you have a different look. So if you looked on my reels, Joanne, and scrolled my reels feed, you would see some reels where I'm 2 different people having a conversation, but it's me. So I could be, like this, saying something, and I've got this hat and this jumper on, and then I say something else because that's the audio track that I've picked up, but I haven't got the hat anymore and I've got a scarf and a different jumper. That's a transition. I'm transitioning from one look to another. Another example is, have you seen the ones where people change their clothes, or they drop their clothes on the floor and then suddenly, the next transition is they're wearing those clothes. So a transition is a different type look within the same frame of the reel. Hope that makes sense. I was about to say worst. It wasn't worst, it was the hardest. One of the hardest reels that I did that was a transition was the one where I pick, if you didn't know, I'm in Australia, I'm an Aussie girl, and I did our Australian slang, and every sentence was a different kind of look. So I had an Aussie hat on, I had a flag on, and then I'd say a different sentence, and I'd have something else in the next sentence, and then the next sentence was a different look again. That's called a transition because I had a different look for every different sort of sentence. But the lip syncing in that, it was so fast. I reckon it took me a whole hour to do like a few second reel. It's on my reels. If you can bother to find it, you'll see. What did I have on my head? I can't remember. But anyway, that's what a transition is. I hope that makes sense, Joanne. Oh, Beth, you have the arrow now. So the arrow is the trending arrow. Beth didn't have that for a very long time. Good to hear that you do. Hi, Sandra. How are you? Hey, Laurie. Glad that isn't considered important anymore, the grid. And, the whole grid thing put me, as I said before, put me off Instagram for a while because I was like, all the photos, and I don't like taking photos of myself, and you got to look pretty and you got to have this grid, and who's got time for that? You don't have to worry about that anymore. But at the end of the day, are you doing reels, and are you doing them regularly? I would highly recommend you do. And if you do, whether you start on TikTok, whether you start on Instagram, whether you start on Facebook, repurpose that reel in other areas, because you can, and because it's all untapped organic reach. You can't achieve that with a Facebook Live. You can't achieve that with an ordinary post. It only goes to a select amount of people that are either your friends on a personal profile, or if you've got a business page, they're following you, or, even in a group, it's only sending it to the people in the group. But reels are untapped organic reach, and you never know when that one is going to go viral. But if you're not doing them, how will you ever know? Okay. So take notice of those things and see where you can get a little bit more creative. At some stage, including myself, at some stage you want to create your own identity with reels and get a little bit more creative with things like transitions and hooks and things like that. But you can't get better at anything unless you're doing them consistently. So if you're not doing them consistently, it is one of those things that I recommend that you put aside a couple of hours on an afternoon and just record as many as you can, batch record them. They're only seconds long, okay? You just got to practice maybe a little bit of lip syncing or a little bit of pointing or something like that, but batch record 5 or 10 and then post them every day, for 5 or 10 days, and then batch record your next lot, and then repurpose it from Instagram to Facebook, and if you want to, TikTok. Like that. So there's so many things that you can do to really tap into that, untapped organic reach. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. Just remember, tomorrow for my live, I'm announcing the top 15 of our recent video challenge. Please join me live so we can celebrate them, but it'll be 2 hours earlier than when I'm normally live. Okay, so just remember that. But if you turn up this time tomorrow, I won't be here because I'll be on another webinar. So, I hope that's useful to you. Just, take that for what it is and think about how you can be a little bit more creative with your reels to stand out from the crowd and maximize your organic reach. Okay, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.